standing strong and tall. Yeah, this is the Bullvine coming on the air, sharing the stories of the folks who care. Profiles of passion, voices of the trade, dairy strong legends being made. Yeah, this is the Bullvine coming on the air, sharing the stories of the folks who care. Profiles of passion, voices of the trade, dairy strong legends being made.
Welcome to our latest podcast episode, where we discuss some game-changing dairy stories and the future of farming. Grab your coffee, sit back, and let's dive in.
Today, we're diving deep into an incredible story, pulled from a feature article that's truly captivated the agricultural community. Think of us as your guides, navigating through the layers of history, innovation, and sheer human tenacity.
Exactly. And what we're about to explore isn't just, a historical anecdote. It's really a living blueprint for resilience and progress in an ever-changing industry. This isn't just a fascinating tale. It's more like a strategic playbook for modern dairy producers, whether you're in the rolling hills of Europe or the vast plains of North America. We're going to unpack the journey of Dutch dairy pioneers to Brazil, their founding of the Castrolanda Cooperative, and the remarkable creation of Agroleite, which is now, Latin America's premier dairy showcase.
And what really struck me from the outset, looking through these sources, is the article's bold claim. It says, this success story continues to raise the bar for global milk production. That's a pretty provocative statement, isn't it? Implying that lessons from, 70 years ago, born from desperate necessity, are profoundly shaping today's most cutting-edge operations.
It is that beyond borders vision right from the very start. I mean, the idea of intentionally transplanting an entire way of life and a complex agricultural system to a new continent. It challenges so much of our, conventional thinking about what progress truly looks like in agriculture and how international cooperation can shape it.
Right.
We're facing unprecedented challenges today, climate shifts, market volatility. And this narrative, starting back in 1952, suddenly feels incredibly current. It really does. It's a testament to these timeless principles that maybe got overlooked in the rush for immediate gains. But now they're becoming surprisingly relevant again.
Okay, let's truly dive into that audacious beginning then. Right at the very root of this story. Picture this. September 1952. 50 Dutch families. Yeah. And they're not just packing suitcases, they're dismantling entire lives. They boarded a ship, the MS Alioth, bound for a new world. And they didn't just bring their dreams, they brought 61 carefully selected cows. Our sources describe this as nothing but expertise and absolute faith in their breeding program. Just strikes me as an almost unthinkable leap of faith.
Unfathomable. Yeah, an unfathomable leap indeed. Think about the comfort and familiarity of the polders back home in the Netherlands, These low-lying lands, meticulously reclaimed from the sea over centuries, perfect for intensive dairy farming, with a climate that suited their Frisian cattle just right.
Yeah, idyllic almost.
Exactly. Now contrast that with their destination, 5,000 hectares along the Iapo River, purchased from the Castro municipality in Brazil. This wasn't just a different country, it was ecologically, climatically, culturally, a completely different planet.
Wow.
The sheer scale of that contrast, the unknowns they faced, it's just staggering to consider.
It really brings home that concept you mentioned, survival meets vision. Because when the MS Alioth finally docked in Brazil, these families didn't arrive to, a ready-made infrastructure. The conditions they faced, as our sources highlight, they make what we consider heat stress discussions today look almost academic. Yeah. We're talking about fundamental survival in an entirely new, often punishing environment. They weren't tweaking cooling systems. They were building from absolute scratch, often battling what must have felt like alien elements. And the article makes a powerful point here, that the early founders understood something truly fundamental, that great dairy operations are built on community knowledge, not just individual expertise. They knew instinctively, didn't they, that going it alone would mean failure.
And that's where the role of the Reformed Evangelical Church becomes absolutely crucial, which I find utterly fascinating. It served as the organizational backbone.
Right, not just spiritual support.
No, not merely a place for spiritual solace in a new, daunting land, though I'm sure that was vital too. It was the foundational structure for this entire migration. Picture this. Their faith, interwoven with a deep commitment to education, and most critically, to cooperative principles. These weren't just abstract ideals, they actually transformed into tangible survival tools.
Survival tools.
Yeah.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah. In this vastly different, often hostile landscape, the stark reality was, like you said, going it alone meant failure. The church became the central hub, providing spiritual grounding, yes, but also facilitating vital communication, organizing scarce resources, and relentlessly reinforcing those communal bonds that were absolutely necessary for their very existence. And, well, their eventual success. It really underscores how true resilience is so often built collectively, not in isolation.
That collective spirit must have been tested constantly, every single day, you'd imagine. And speaking of adaptability, that brings us directly to the animals themselves. Those 61 cows, they weren't just any cattle, were they?
No, not at all.
They were carefully selected Dutch Frisian bloodlines, prized for their productivity in those cool, temperate European climates. But imagine the challenge. I mean, really imagine it. These animals had to adapt not just to entirely different grass varieties in an unfamiliar climate, but to entirely different heat stress patterns.
Yeah, that's key. Different patterns.
It wasn't merely warmer, it was a distinct kind of warmth, right? Higher humidity, different solar intensity, unfamiliar seasonal cycles. How do they even begin to manage that without modern vet science and, all the environmental controls we rely on now?
It's a question of raw, on-the-ground innovation, isn't it? Just figuring it out. They were forced to experiment from day one. Literally day one. Our sources hint at the intense learning curve, discovering which local forage crops could sustain high-producing dairy animals, experimenting with natural ventilation in rudimentary shelters, even just observing which individual cows showed greater resilience.
Trial and error on a massive scale.
Exactly. And for many of you listening today, especially across North America, does that sound familiar?
Yeah, increasingly so.
Because with summers getting hotter and more unpredictable, the adaptation strategies these families developed 70 years ago, they're suddenly incredibly relevant. They were dealing with persistent, 90-degree days and high humidity long before it became a widespread concern in traditional dairy regions like Wisconsin or Ontario.
That's a really good point.
They learned early on through sheer necessity that genetic excellence, no matter how carefully selected, it means absolutely nothing if your cattle can't physically handle the environment they're living in.
Right. Survival first, then production.
Precisely. This historical adaptation strategy is proving to be a sudden blueprint for modern challenges. It underscores the vital need to breed for environmental resilience, not just peak production. It's a powerful lesson from the past that's directly applicable to your bottom line today. It urges us to think beyond just milk per cow and consider milk per acre in our specific climate.
So, with that foundational understanding of their, audacious beginning and remarkable survival against the odds, it's striking to realize that by November 1951, which, get this, was actually before that historic voyage of the MS Alioth,
right,
the Sociedad Cooperativa Castrolanda was officially formed. This wasn't some casual reactive grouping after they landed. This was deliberate, structured, foundational, planned even before they set sail. It just hammers home that this wasn't your typical cooperative structure where maybe everyone's looking out for themselves first. These folks were, as the article says, thinking generationally from day one. It was about a collective future.
And that foresight is truly the bedrock of their long-term success. It really is. The growth timeline of Castrolanda, it reads like a masterclass in sustainable agricultural development. It wasn't a rapid boom and bust cycle like you sometimes see.
No quick wins.
No. It was methodical, steady, and designed for sustainable growth with no rush to scale. In 1951, as you noted, the Core Cooperative was established, milk operations began. But think about the context. They were literally clearing land, building basic shelters, trying to get milk to market in a nascent economy.
Just surviving.
Exactly. Yet, just 3 years later, 1954, they built the Prins Willem Alexander Dutch School. A school.
Incredible.
That's right after housing and the most basic dairy facilities. That decision, it speaks volumes about their priorities. Education right up there.
Absolutely.
Then you see this methodical diversification. 1967, they expanded into swine production. Smart move, right? Leverage waste, create additional revenue.
Makes sense.
By 1970, they added grain operations. That was crucial for feed integration, ensuring self-sufficiency and quality control in a region where, let's face it, quality feed might have been inconsistent.
Control your inputs.
You got it. And finally, 1984, they founded ABC, the Agricultural Business Center. This wasn't just another division. This was the pivotal moment. It marked their true shift into being, serious agribusiness players, taking their cooperative model to an industrial scale.
What truly resonates with me about that progression, though, is the audacious prioritization of education. A school coming third. Right after establishing basic housing and getting the first dairy facilities up and running. In year 3, they were still grappling with fundamental challenges, like figuring out how to create viable Brazilian feed rations for their specific dairy herd, dealing with tropical storms, battling unknown diseases, things completely alien to their European experience.
Absolutely, stuff they'd never seen.
Yet, amidst all those immediate struggles for survival, they dedicated resources to building a school. What does that tell you about their dedication to knowledge transfer for future generations?
It tells you everything, doesn't it?
They understood that their long-term success wasn't just about the cattle or the land. It was about investing in human capital, in the minds of their children and grandchildren, ensuring the perpetuation of their vision, not just their immediate survival.
It's an incredibly powerful statement about their foresight, and one that, frankly, many modern operations could learn a thing or two from. And this idea of integration matters just permeates their entire approach. Their methodical expansion into swine, and especially those grain operations. It shows they grasped early on that feed production, genetics, and management all needed to work as a cohesive, interdependent system.
Not just separate silos.
Exactly. This wasn't just about getting more milk. It was about creating a resilient, self-sustaining ecosystem that could weather economic shocks and environmental shifts. That foresight, that deep understanding of interconnectedness, is precisely what prepared them for future growth. It allowed them to navigate challenges that would have absolutely crippled less integrated operations.
Right.
They weren't just building individual farms. They were constructing an entire interconnected agricultural economy from the ground up, a local food system before that term was even popular.
And this methodical, community-driven approach eventually led to something truly spectacular, Agroleite. As Castrolanda's reputation grew, their leaders recognized a powerful truth. One we're seeing play out more and more today, that sharing excellence elevates entire regions.
That's a great phrase.
Agroleite evolved from what was originally just a local agricultural gathering into what is now widely considered Latin America's premier dairy showcase. It's a brilliant example of how internal success can become an external beacon, right?
Yeah.
Attracting attention, fostering development, raising standards far beyond the cooperative's immediate borders.
And the strategic timing of Agroleite is just, it's brilliant. Holding it every August, which is Brazil's winter.
Right, cooler weather.
Exactly. This means the cattle are in peak condition. They're avoiding that debilitating summer heat stress that just crushes milk production during warmer months. It allows the animals to truly shine, to show their genetic potential.
Makes perfect sense.
And the comprehensive nature of the event is genuinely impressive. You've got the dairy tournament, that's a production competition. Alongside that, the fodder park showcasing the latest in feed tech, machine dynamics for equipment exhibitions, and then there are the milk trail educational programs for consumers and the public.
Covering all the bases.
It's an immersive, educational, and business-focused event that, honestly, with its breadth and integration, it really sets a new bar for agricultural shows globally. Puts some others to shame, you could argue.
What's particularly noteworthy, too, is their unwavering focus on genetic diversity. Agroleite doesn't just showcase one breed. They highlight both Holstein breeds, the classic black and white, and the increasingly popular red and white Holsteins, alongside Jersey cattle. This isn't about promoting one breed over another. It feels like a strategic decision to showcase the full spectrum of genetic excellence and to cater to diverse market demands.
Exactly. Responsive.
And right now, with feed costs being what they are, that Jersey efficiency, with their higher butter, fat, and protein, it's looking pretty attractive, isn't it?
It certainly is. A lot of people are looking hard at jerseys.
It shows they're responsive to market signals while maintaining genetic integrity across the board. That's a rare feat.
Absolutely. And the economic impact. Wow, it underscores just how significant this event has become. The 2024 numbers are staggering. $520 million, that's Brazilian reals in business deals transacted.
520 million reals, that's huge.
And an estimated 150,000 visitors flowing through over just 4 days.
Wow.
That's a serious economic jolt for any agricultural region. A huge boost. But as you implied, it's not just about the money.
Right, there's more to it.
It's about the exchange of ideas, the networking, the raising of standards, the collective progress that comes from bringing the industry together on such a grand scale. It's a true barometer of the region's agricultural vitality, and a testament to the power of a well-organized event to drive an entire sector forward.
And here's where the story takes an interesting turn for us, I suppose, because our source material highlights a crucial role in amplifying this success. It says our partnership with Agroleite hasn't just told the world what's happening. It's helped turn this once local event into the greatest dairy show in the Southern Hemisphere.
Right.
So we're not just observers. We've actively been a catalyst, connecting this unique Brazilian success story with a global audience.
And that's not just, promotional fluff. The concrete evidence is undeniable. With the detailed coverage that reaches breeders, AI companies, genetics buyers across 6 continents, Agroleite has demonstrably surpassed International Dairy Week. And that's a big statement.
It is.
It's not just in size, but critically, in the sheer quality and depth of competition in the show ring. If you followed the reports or watched the Holstein, Jersey, and red and white lineups from this past year, you're seeing elite genetics, animals that would absolutely stand out at Madison or the Royal, no question.
Top here.
Agroleite has become the benchmark, the measuring stick people talk about when they want to see how Southern Hemisphere breeding programs stack up. Frankly, it's become the standard for next-level cows below the equator.
And the ripple effect.
Oh, the ripple effect of these detailed show reports and comprehensive results reaching dairy professionals worldwide is immense. This coverage directly leads to export inquiries for Brazilian genetics, to new AI contracts for their top sires, and to the kind of breeder recognition that simply never happened on this scale before. It puts them on the global map.
That ripple effect is precisely what makes it so exciting.
Right.
And the caliber of international judges lining up to officiate at Agroleite. That really validates this global status, doesn't it?
It absolutely does.
For 2024, Pure Boulet from Quebec, Canada. This is someone who has personally bred and owned over 175 all-Canadian and all-American nominated animals.
Incredible record.
He officiated the Holstein competitions. And for Agroleite 2025, they've already secured Ryan Crollo for Jerseys and Jamie Black for Holsteins. These are individuals whose evaluations carry significant weight in genetics markets from Auckland all the way to Amsterdam.
Heavy hitters, their opinion matters.
This isn't just a regional show anymore, it's a global proving ground.
And the results from 2024 truly speak volumes about the depth of Brazilian genetics now. Take the Holstein competitions, for example. The grand champion, RMM Robina Lamdier 887, owned by Armando Rabbers. Just breathtaking. A picture of balance and power.
A standout cow.
And the intermediate champion, CRA Alligator Mayock 2197 TE, owned by Robert Salomons, showed incredible promise and that desirable functional type everyone's looking for. These aren't just local champions. These are animals with genetics competing on a global stage, proving the quality and foresight of Brazilian breeding programs, validating years and years of dedicated work.
These victories are a direct reflection of the dedicated breeders behind them, aren't they?
Absolutely. The people make the difference.
Armando Rabbers, for instance. That name is synonymous with excellence at Agroleite. In 2024, he didn't just win. He swept the Best Breeder, Exhibitor, and Adult Ethics honors for the Holstein Black and White breed.
A clean sweep. That's dominance.
That's not just a lucky streak, that's the payoff, right?
Yeah.
For years of systematic genetic decisions, careful selection, meticulous management, all culminating in show ring dominance and, more importantly, high-performing herds that thrive under commercial conditions.
That's the key they perform too. And Robert Salomons consistently places champions year after year. It further proves that Brazilian Holstein genetics are not only competitive, but consistently at the forefront globally. They keep bringing the goods.
Consistency is huge.
And you simply cannot talk about Holstein excellence in Brazil without mentioning the de Boer family. You just can't. Hendrik and Reinaldo de Boer, with their Annuallandia prefix, they represent a multi-generational dynasty in the Castrolanda region.
Annuallandia, that's a name you hear a lot.
Their name is synonymous with Holstein success. They've graced champion after champion in Agroleite's show rings, embodying decades of careful genetic selection and an unwavering commitment to breeding excellence. Their success truly stems from a profound, almost intuitive understanding of Holstein type and production. It's like they just know.
That feel for the cattle.
Exactly. They possess an innate ability to match bloodlines that consistently produce show-quality offspring that also perform exceptionally in the milk tank, marrying form and function.
The Holy Grail.
Annuallydia genetics aren't just dominating locally. They've gained recognition throughout South America, appearing in herds from Argentina to Colombia, and they're catching the eye of global geneticists too.
So their philosophy.
Their breeding philosophy mirrors those original Dutch settlers. Patient, methodical, and always focused on long-term genetic improvement, rather than chasing short-term trends or fads.
Resisting the flavor of the month.
Exactly. Every year at Agroleite, the appearance of cattle bearing the Annuallydia name generates this palpable anticipation. You can feel it, because their reputation for producing champions has become as reliable as the changing of seasons.
Wow.
If you're wondering how to build that kind of multi-generational reputation, the De Boer approach teaches us a fundamental truth. Consistency, deeply rooted in knowledge and long-term vision, beats flash-in-the-pan brilliance every single time.
And it's not just the Holsteins getting all the glory, is it? The red and white division is thriving too.
Oh, yeah.
Korsten Bronkhorst Gabriella 461 Journey Red claimed Grand Champion honors in 2024. A stunning example of the breed's potential for both type and production.
Beautiful cow.
And Raphael Cornelis Hugerheid with RCH Melhetta 2279 Altitude Red continues to push red and white genetics forward, proving their adaptability and quality in the Brazilian environment, showcasing that genetic excellence isn't confined to a single color or breed.
That's right. Quality comes in all colors. So when you look at all these show ring victories, from the black and white Holsteins to the red and whites and the jerseys, it's essential to understand they're far more than just ribbons and trophies.
More than just a pretty face.
Exactly. They are powerful validations of breeding decisions made not just months, but often years earlier. They are concrete confirmations of genetic theories meticulously tested and refined across generations of cattle.
The proof is in the progeny.
Precisely. This isn't about fleeting trends. It's about a sustained, long-term commitment to genetic improvement that yields tangible, undeniable results. Results you can see both in the show ring and, crucially, in the milk parlor. It speaks to a deep, inherent understanding of genetics as a long game, a continuous process of refinement.
Okay, shifting gears now just a bit. Let's talk about how these enduring principles translate into the modern reality of Castrolanda. Because when you walk through their facilities today, you might assume maybe that technology has erased the past.
You might think that.
But those original values are still everywhere, aren't they? If you know what to look for. Castrolanda is now a massive enterprise, part of the Unium Cooperative network, operating as a major dairy and feed processing operation with facilities spanning multiple locations in southern Brazil.
The operation now.
Their production numbers today, driven by 100% mechanical milking and cooling across member farms. They would probably blow away those original 50 families. Just the scale and efficiency.
Oh, absolutely. They wouldn't recognize the scale. And yet, what's truly remarkable is how those original values remain so visible, woven into the fabric of daily life. Church services still happen in both Portuguese and Dutch. That's a powerful symbol, isn't it, of their cultural commitment and preserving identity.
It really is, keeping the language alive.
And the cooperative's deep commitment to education, which started with that original Prince Willem Alexander School. It continues through current agricultural extension programs, vocational training, youth development initiatives. These programs aren't just about teaching skills. They are, you could say, cultural transmission mechanisms.
Passing it down.
Ensuring the cooperative spirit and the commitment to excellence are passed down. These initiatives reflect the very same values that those three founding leaders, Jan de Jager, Geert Leffers, Fike Dijkstra, would absolutely recognize and champion today.
That's continuity.
It's a clear demonstration that for them, individual success means nothing if the community doesn't prosper. That philosophy is just baked into their DNA. You see it in every new facility, every training program, every board meeting. It's fundamental.
And that's the kind of thinking that creates incredible staying power in this industry, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially now, with heat stress becoming a bigger and bigger issue across North America.
That's on everyone's mind.
The resilient adaptations these families developed decades ago, from their facility design, optimizing airflow and shade, to their genetic selection focusing on heat tolerance and resilience, to their daily management practices accommodating warmer climates. They are suddenly very, very relevant.
Incredibly relevant.
Yeah. They've been dealing with those 90-degree days and high humidity for generations, refining their systems out of sheer necessity. Frankly, for many of us in traditional dairy regions, we're just now catching up to challenges they mastered decades ago.
It's true. We're playing catch-up in some ways.
Their experience offers invaluable blueprints for today's climate-conscious dairy farmer, proving that proactive adaptation isn't a luxury, it's a fundamental necessity.
Looking ahead, Agroleite 2025 is scheduled for August 5th through 8th. That marks the event's 25th anniversary, a big milestone.
Quarter century. Wow.
And the continued commitment to international expertise is clear with the selection of Ryan Crollo and Jamie Black as judges, bringing fresh perspectives to Brazilian genetic evaluation and further solidifying Agroleite's global standing.
Keeping that international connection strong.
And this story, it extends far beyond just another successful dairy region. Castro has officially earned the designation as Brazil's national milk capital.
National Milk Capital. That's quite a title.
Directly because of the agricultural excellence that started with those Dutch settlers and gets amplified annually through Agroleite. This isn't just local success, it's a national point of pride.
And that ripple effect you mentioned earlier must be huge locally, too.
Oh, enormous. Castro's dairy basin is now recognized as one of Brazil's most productive in terms of both volume and quality. And the broader economic impact reaches throughout the entire Campos Gerais region. Hotels, restaurants, transportation services, equipment dealers, countless businesses in the area depend on that annual August influx.
The whole community benefits.
It creates an entire ecosystem of prosperity, a model of how a focused agricultural sector can uplift an entire regional economy.
What's also incredibly interesting is how this connects back to what's happening in North American dairy right now. With increasing consolidation pressure, tightening environmental regulations, ongoing labor challenges.
All the pressures we know well.
The cooperative principles that built Castrolanda, sharing resources, pooling knowledge, thinking regionally instead of just individually. These aren't old-fashioned ideas. They are proving to be powerful survival strategies for the modern dairy industry. A roadmap for collective resilience.
Absolutely. Contemporary challenges like climate change, market volatility, evolving consumer preferences, more stringent environmental regulations. They require the exact same spirit of innovation and cooperation that characterized the original settlement.
History repeating, in a way.
But here's the thing. These challenges also represent profound opportunities for operations willing to think beyond just the next quarter's results. Their environmental sustainability initiatives now reflect modern agricultural consciousness, sure, but they draw directly on those deeply rooted Dutch resource management traditions, like efficient water use and nutrient cycling. It's in their heritage.
Built-in sustainability.
And their youth development programs are more than just technical training sessions. As we discussed, they're cultural transmission mechanisms, ensuring the preservation of that cooperative spirit and commitment to excellence for generations to come, creating a truly sustainable future, both economically and culturally.
It's all beautifully encapsulated, isn't it, by that 26-meter Dutch windmill d'Immigrant, rising from the Brazilian dairy country.
Quite a sight.
Built in 2001 for their 50th anniversary, modeled after the Voldzig mill from Drenthe province, where most of the founding families originated. When you stand next to it on a humid Brazilian morning, you can actually smell the silage from nearby bunkers mixing with the scent of tropical flowers. It's quite an experience.
A real blend of cultures.
It's not just a tourist attraction, though. The windmill houses their library, museum, meeting spaces, acting as a living monument to their heritage. When you're up on the observation platform, looking out over these modern dairy facilities stretching to the horizon, you get this profound sense of how they've managed to preserve their identity while simultaneously embracing cutting-edge innovation. It's remarkable.
It really is.
Third-generation Brazilian dairy families are still keeping their ancestral Dutch language alive, maintaining that deep cultural connection to their roots.
That cultural commitment is deep, and it shows up in every aspect of their operation, right down to the breeding programs. When international judges like Ryan Crollo and Jamie Black evaluate champion Holstein and Jersey cows bred in Brazilian pastures according to Dutch principles, they're touching the tangible results of one of agriculture's greatest migration stories, a seamless blend of heritage and progress.
So after this incredible deep dive, really digging into this story, what's the absolute key takeaway for a farmer listening today? How does this remarkable story directly impact their operation right now?
Well, I think it boils down to some critical takeaways for your breeding program, directly inspired by this Castrolanda Cooperative model. First, heat adaptation starts with selection. You just have to. Don't just breed for production. You absolutely must breed for cattle that can handle your specific climate stress. Brazilian farmers have proven this out of necessity over decades. It's non-negotiable there.
Lesson learned the hard way.
Second, community knowledge beats individual expertise. Share what works. Learn from your neighbors. Collaboratively build regional genetic strategies. Going it alone, especially in challenging times, just makes you vulnerable.
Don't reinvent the wheel alone.
Third, think generationally. Make your breeding decisions based on where your operation needs to be 10 or 15 years from now, not just what's going to maximize the next lactation. That long-term vision is crucial for true, enduring success.
Playing the long game.
Fourth, integration matters. Your feed production, genetics, and management practices need to work as a seamless system. It's about synergy across your entire operation, not isolated components.
Seeing the whole picture.
And finally, fifth, education investment pays. The most successful, resilient operations invest heavily in knowledge transfer to the next generation, ensuring their legacy isn't just land and cattle, but informed, capable people who can carry the vision forward.
Investing in people. Got it. And on a broader business level, the lessons seem just as profound, right?
Absolutely.
Those cooperative principles that build Castrolanda, they offer a truly robust blueprint for thriving amidst the consolidation pressure and tight margins we see today. They're not some antiquated idea. They are powerful, proven survival strategies.
Still relevant. Very relevant.
That half $520 million in business deals from Agroleite 2024, that's not just a big number. That's a compound interest on a visionary investment that prioritized community prosperity and industry advancement from day one.
Well said. Compound interest.
It reinforces our core message, doesn't it?
Okay.
Genetic excellence without community support is just, well, expensive cattle. Environmental adaptation without long-term thinking is just crisis management. And individual success without shared knowledge is just lucky timing.
Lucky timing. Yeah.
The Castrolanda story is a powerful reminder that true wealth in agriculture is measured not just in individual profit, but in collective well-being and the continuous elevation of the entire industry.
And that leads me to a final, maybe provocative thought for you, our listener, to mull over. When we look at this entire story, from those 50 families on the MS Alioth to the global showcase that is Agroleite today, it seems clear. The most powerful force in agriculture isn't technology or capital or even genetics, as crucial as they are.
What is it then?
It's the unwavering belief that tomorrow can be better than today, and the conviction that by working together, we can truly make it so. So I challenge you to consider, how are you applying these principles in your own operations, especially when times are tough, when the bills are due, when the milk check is late? Because as the Dutch pioneers of Brazil proved, that unwavering belief backed by collective action is ultimately what pays off.
Great points. A lot to think about there. And that's all the time we have for this deep dive. For more articles and insights, be sure to visit www.thebullvine.com.
Don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your deep dives. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for tuning in to the Bullvine podcast. If you liked what you heard, don't forget to subscribe and share. For more straight talk on dairying, head over to thebullvine.com. Until next time, keep pushing the boundaries on your farm.